Alrighty then, it's time for a team battle Ekko, and this is a game with friends. Which one? And this is AP Runeglaive Ekko, not the Cinderhulk Ekko you've seen. Pushing through. The thing is, I've been fighting a few jungle Echoes, and they've been super aggressive, and they've impressed me. So I've been wanting to learn how to play them more seriously. I believe this is actually my second game ever playing as Ekko. By the way, I don't know what Tristana did this for. She jumped over the wall just to immediately die. So I start off with the first blood advantage, but I don't immediately cash it in. Anyways, attack speed red, armor yellow, ability power blue, scaling per level, and ability power quints. 2190 masteries. I even take AD from the offensive tree just to give myself a little bit of better auto attacks. One thing I've noticed with Ekko is that early on his clearing is pretty trashy. Yeah, his W helps him out a lot, and he does do quite a bit of damage, but it's not good enough in comparison to a lot of the more established AP junglers. And even until a few levels in, your clearing is still pretty bad, so I have to buy myself a Ranger's Trailblazer to give it more oomph. Because usually when you're clearing the camps as an AP jungle, well, Ekko, you don't kill it fast enough. You're sitting there getting wailed on it by a bit, and thus you lose a lot more health than you normally want. Still, though, the problem with this is that this problem goes away real quickly. Once you buy a Runeglaive or your next your tier 3 jungle item, or you buy more AP and get more ranks in your abilities, it just goes away completely. Like you start melting camps, which makes a Ranger's Trailblazer kind of a worse pick. So you have a choice between getting something like Stalker's Blade or the Skirmisher's Saber and having this kind of lame early levels 3 to 5 as Ekko, or buying Ranger's Trailblazer and going through it real quickly and then getting stuck with Ranger's Trailblazer when you don't need it. It's just this tiny little window as when you don't actually have the power to grind camps down. The only reason you saw me grind camps faster, even though I've been talking about Ranger's Trailblazers, because I got this first blood money and I got myself an amp toe, and that helps me greatly clear the camps. Otherwise, though, you start just farming like a beast when you have a few ranks on your Q, and your W always helps you, take out any camps you may not be sure you can take out if you're just a little bit of health. And his E is just good burst. His damage in the early game is quite remarkable. Obviously, this is something I don't need to tell you. So when it comes to ganks, you can surprise people with the amount of damage you can do and stab at them and deal a lot of damage. However, you're fragile as shit, and if you use your E, which you're probably going to gank somebody, you're not going to have a way to escape. So if you do this poorly, you're going to die a really bad death. So like I was saying, he's sort of like an Evelyn without the stealth, and with an actual form of CC. You can only fight battles you can win, and then get the fuck out real quickly. His W, I am in love with his W. In the jungle clearing, it's useful for the first ranks, and then later on you don't exactly need it. But for ganking, it's such a huge ass range, and it's odd that a champion like him has it, but I'm not complaining. The W alone is what allows you to be very malleable with him. Thanks to the W, you can sort of be a little bit fucked up early on, because the utility it provides can be quite daunting. Here I miss it because the brand didn't know that the enemy can't immediately see it, so he sort of gave my position away by being super aggro. But I don't blame him. Even I just barely learned that the W does that. So still, though, in most ganks, I've been using the W in 3 ways. One, preemptively throwing it far where me and my teammate might guide him to. So either they'll be forced to turn around, fight us, and take more damage, or get completely screwed over. I shoot it on top of my teammates or myself, so the enemy team just immediately backs away and doesn't try fighting at all. Or if they're continuing to fight my teammate and they realize and they stick there, they're gonna get stunned. Like, let's say Katarina and Ahri are fighting together, and I'm coming to gank. I'll throw it on top of Ahri, because if the Katarina sticks to fighting the Ahri, she's gonna get stunned and destroyed. If not, my Ahri has a chance to back away while the Katarina flees or whatever, and it creates space. I think I actually do that successfully in this game in one point. I use my W on top of my ally, and the enemy team scatters because they just can't handle it. Here we catch Ekko, where I just start wailing on him, dealing damage. Katarina shows up. I retreat just a little bit, and the Katarina gets absolutely destroyed by Ahri. But then they both jump on me, and they don't realize my ultimate's right next to them, so they get blown up. I love that ultimate, but it is pretty difficult to use in a ganking standpoint. For ganking, I don't think it's useful at all, except for maybe retreating if you got fucked up, but you don't exactly want to use the ultimate that way. The enemy sort of has to fall into it for it to be really effective, and in most ganks, if you're already winning, and pushing the enemy back, you're not going to get to use your ultimate. It's mostly kind of a good, really strong tool if you get counter ganked, because if they counter gank you, they'll likely go on to your ultimate and you can nuke the shit out of them. I think actually in one scene here you will see that happen. So as far as Ekko goes, I am enjoying him quite a lot, and I would actually say I rate him highly as an AP jungler, and he's sort of like what I wish Katarina was. He's got far better ganking, like by a shit ton. His ultimate not exactly useful for ganking, for fighting later on. Sometimes. By the way, here's what I say: I throw it on Ahri. Right, so it doesn't exactly work out because the enemy was going to retreat anyways, but that's what I mean. I try to throw it on my teammates, and if, like, let's say the Alistair had engaged or Katarina had engaged, it just get fucked up. Anyways, saying Diana has the better jungle clear by far from the beginning to the end. She's better at clearing. She's better at farming. However, Ekko's is better at ganking and team fighting. They're two different kinds of things. Different types of beasts when it comes to team fighting, so it's debatable as to which one would be better. If the farming meta is something more preferred, then Diana would be better than Ekko, but in ganking meta or something like that, Ekko would definitely be more useful. As to whether it's competitively viable, we've seen Jungle Ekko be used here and there. However, I've mostly only seen him be used as a Cinderhulk kind of Ekko, never really gone full-on AP because, of course, there's a lot of risk involved in that. However, unlike other AP champions like Diana or something, I think Ekko being built at least AP can make more sense, or at least is safer, because you're not too burdened by being just pure damage. You have some utility with your W and some ability to make plays with your ultimate in team fights. So he's got at least he's got less monetary burden, so to speak, which is something a lot of AP champions suffer on. One thing, though, that Ekko does have a weakness on that I've noticed as in the games I've been playing him is he has a problem with momentum. I mentioned this earlier with the fact that I bought Ranger's Trailblazer and other things, but like AP junglers are plagued with momentum problems because it's usually brought on by either sustain or by the nature of how they clear because they have pretty bad auto attacks. Ekko's is just, he's got good auto attacks, or at least decent auto attacks, and his W passive is insane for finishing off camps. It's just his E's doesn't do anything for clearing, and his Q is pretty just like for clearing as well. So it's like his abilities themselves don't do shit. So you're just kind of like hoping you invest items into it and it makes it better. You desperately need like a Runeglaive or an upgraded AP item so you can just start melting camps. So it's like he's got that monetary burden, but it's not as. But when it comes to team fights or at least utility, it's a lot less than other AP champions. So when comparing him to other AP champions, I actually want to give him an A. Maybe even an A+, just because I love how awesome his W can be. It's such a good fallback ability. Like, it's always going to do something no matter how fucked up you are, and it alone allows you to sort of go into another more conservative builds if you get screwed or something like that. So it's a huge plus to Ekko. Hell, if it wasn't for as champions like Evelyn or more powerful AP champions like Grenada Mumu, I would probably have given Ekko #1 spot for AP junglers. It's just, again, he's got this really awkward early game, and it's not that big of a deal, honestly, though. So I'm really enjoying myself when I'm playing Ekko, and I recommend you try him. Remember to like the video to support the channel and to subscribe if you haven't yet. I have a few sponsors that are helping me maintain this channel, such as Loot Crate and Pro Build Systems. I have links to their websites on the description below. Use my code for a discount, and using my links also directly supports my channel.